Welcome back to the Veteran Teacher Files, where we keep the stories real, the names anonymous, and the coffee reheated at least 3 times. I'm your host, the Dragon Lady, and today's episode is a little funny and a little sentimental. It's one of those episodes that kind of snuck up on me, because right now, everybody's celebrating transitions. Parents are excited about their kids promoting. Teachers are counting down days. Kids are hyped for summer. I'm excited too. My youngest is transitioning from daycare to TK, which means for the first time in years, I won't be paying daycare tuition every week. Can we just pause for a moment of silence? Because I feel like I've been making a car payment, except that the car is actually a tiny human who eats goldfish and brings home random germs. Yeah, tuition isn't even a bill, it's a hostage situation. So, yeah, I'm really excited. But at the same time, my son is also finishing up speech. Well, no, actually, he's not finishing up speech. He's finishing with his current teacher and transitioning to a different teacher. So he's, ending with the person he's had for about a year now, the same routine, the same person, the same structure. And that's got me thinking. We as adults get excited about moving on. So excited that sometimes we forget transitions can actually feel really heavy for kids. And sometimes for us too. And I started thinking about this because of something that happened to me a long time ago when I taught kindergarten. It was the end of the school year and I was told that I was moving classrooms. So before the school year ended, I think it was 2 weeks before the school year ended, I just grabbed a corner of butcher paper and ripped down that wall. Just ripped down the butcher paper, the border, the little bulletin I had up, and I just started taking down bulletin boards. Just trying to survive the end of the school year while also packing up all this nonsense that I think I need to have. And almost immediately, my class started acting differently. They were more emotional, they were kind of restless, there were a bit more behavior problems at recess. And at first I thought, okay, it's May. No big deal. But then I noticed this one little girl in particular. And I just remember her sitting there. And she was kind of zoned out, but she was staring at the walls. And the more blank the walls got, the stranger the student was behaving. And then it hit me. The room doesn't feel safe for her anymore. Not unsafe. I mean, there was, butcher paper on the ground and probably a stapler hidden underneath their tape. But it was unsafe in an emotional way. Kids were experiencing change. The walls looked different. The room felt different. The routine was disappearing in front of them. And for little kids, routine is security. What's wild is I recently got reminded of this all over again. At my current site, I have a young clerk. I've mentioned him before. He's about 20 years old and he's brand new to education. And the classroom where he's working in is being moved. This is the last week at our site. This is the last week of school. So I think on Wednesday or Thursday of last week, the teacher of the classroom started slowly taking down things. And she got rid of one bulletin board, one empty wall. Now, I was in there warming up my lunch, and this grown man is standing there, and he's like, whoa, the room feels really different. And the second he said that, I thought, there it is. That feeling doesn't magically disappear because we get older. We all notice when something familiar starts changing. We all feel it when routines start disappearing. So that's actually what made me go home and want to tell my husband about this. And I told him that even though we might be excited about our son being done with daycare and with speech, it probably hasn't hit him yet. We're talking about him graduating and a little cap and gown, and we're excited about this payment, but he's not getting it. The school is ending. I don't know what that actually means for him. He's 3, turning 4 this summer. So my guess is in the beginning, it probably just feels like a weekend. And then it probably feels like a little bit of a break. And they're probably at that point still like, yeah, we've done this before. And it's probably about 2 weeks in that it usually hits when they start realizing that, like, wait, like something's off. And I think adults do the same thing. At first, we're distracted, we're busy, we're relieved, we're excited. And then suddenly, one random Tuesday, it hits us, and we realize we kind of missed the routine. We're desperate to escape. And maybe sometimes we even miss one or two of those students who are really looking forward to say goodbye to. And if you've taught kids long enough, you absolutely know that they carry those attachments with them as well. I've had students call me. Well, no, I haven't had students call me. I've had students bug their parents to call me just so they can get on the phone to tell me that they're playing baseball. That's it. No major update, no emergency, just, hi, I'm playing baseball. Bye. And then the parent usually gets on the phone, and I'm thinking of this one particular kid, and the parent's just like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. He was talking about you nonstop, and he really wanted me to call you, and he knew I had your number, and that's all he said, and then he just ran off. And yeah, the kid just wanted to check in. He just wanted to make sure I was still there. But my all-time favorite story, this one year when I taught first grade, I had this mom, and she was a volunteer in my classroom. So I was probably in her recent chats. I'd either called her or maybe messaged her. She was probably helping me with some sort of end of year stuff, maybe stuffing folders or sending home memory books. I don't know. But apparently, at some point, I was in her latest contacts. So this student somehow unlocked the iPad and found my name and FaceTimed me. But the best part is, she was calling me from the bathroom, sitting on the toilet. Just chilling, calling me like we're best friends. And she gets on, and I see her. She's like, I can see her face. Her face is like right up on there. I can see it all up in her nostrils. And she's like, hi, I miss you. I want to come visit you. Now, I love my students, but there are boundaries. And also, at the same time, that year, I lived in a really sketch neighborhood. And yeah, I don't need any random 6-year-olds trying to pull up to that neighborhood. So I had to explain to her, honey, yeah, I miss you too, but you really don't want to visit where I live. And yeah, her mom heard her. She came in, she apologized. We both convinced her that she didn't want to come visit me. But yeah, it was just a moment that stayed with me, because underneath all of that craziness was something really sweet. And kids form genuine emotional attachments. School becomes part of their identity. Teachers become part of their routine. And when the routine disappears, they feel it. Even if they don't fully understand it, they feel it. But here's another thing I've been sitting with lately. Sometimes it's not just the kids. Sometimes it's the grown-ups too. Right now, I'm getting ready to step away from a school site. And even though I know change is normal, it still hurts a little bit, because every campus leaves fingerprints on you. There are coworkers that I've laughed with. There are students that I will worry about. There are moms that I've connected with. And there are some classrooms and classroom teachers that have created memories in my mind and in my heart. And every time I leave a site, I leave a little piece of my heart behind. Every single time. And the weird thing about teaching is that people think we just teach subjects. We're just there teaching math and writing and blah, 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 blah. But really, we're building little tiny communities over and over and over again. And eventually, we have to say goodbye to them. And we have to let them go and do it all over again. So maybe that's the reminder for all of us right now at the end of another school year. If your child starts acting emotional about 2 weeks into summer, it might not be boredom. They might just be grieving a routine. If your kid suddenly starts talking nonstop about their teacher, they might miss that connection. And if you're feeling a little emotional leaving the classroom, a campus, a daycare, or a season of your life, that's normal too, because transitions are complicated, even the happy ones. So thank you for joining me for another episode of the Veteran Teacher Files. I'm your host, the Dragon Lady, reminding you that behind every classroom wall, every routine, and every goodbye, there's usually a little heart involved. Sorry, let me say that again. Behind every classroom wall, behind every routine, and behind every goodbye, there's usually a little more heart involved than people realize. And before we go, I want to hear from you. What transition caught you or your child completely off guard? Was there a teacher, a school, a coach, or a routine that became harder to leave than you expected? Send me your stories because trust me, educators remember those moments too. Until next time, take care of yourselves, take care of your kids, and maybe don't let your first grader have unrestricted FaceTime. Anyways, good night, everybody.